Picture this. It's July 4th, 2025, and while families across America are celebrating Independence Day, something devastating is unfolding in the heart of Texas. What started as a holiday weekend would become one of the deadliest natural disasters in the state's recent history, leaving behind a trail of destruction that has stunned even the most seasoned emergency responders. The numbers alone tell a story that's almost impossible to comprehend. As of July 8th, at least 109 people have died while 161 people remain missing across Central Texas. But these aren't just statistics on a government report. Behind each number is a family torn apart, a community shattered, and lives forever changed. In the span of just a few terrifying hours. To understand the true scope of this tragedy, we need to talk about Camp Mystic, a place that for decades had been synonymous with childhood joy and summer memories. This Christian girls' camp, nestled peacefully along the Guadalupe River in the scenic Texas Hill Country, had welcomed generations of young campers. Parents trusted this place with their most precious possessions, their children. The camp had always been a haven where friendships were forged, confidence was built, and memories were created that would last a lifetime. But on that fateful July 4th morning, everything changed. The campers and counselors at Camp Mystic woke up to what many survivors described as the unthinkable. The camp confirmed they lost 27 girls and counselors when the waters rose quickly and flooded cabins. Imagine being a parent, sending your child off to what should have been the highlight of their summer, only to receive the worst news imaginable. The stories emerging from Camp Mystic are both heartbreaking and heroic. Camp counselors, many of them teenagers themselves, helped in the rescue efforts, showing incredible courage in the face of unimaginable terror. These young people, who had signed up to teach arts and crafts and lead campfire songs, suddenly found themselves in a life-or-death situation, fighting against the most powerful force of nature. What makes this disaster particularly devastating is how quickly it all happened. Texas House Speaker Dustin Burrows captured the shock perfectly when he said it was hard to comprehend the amount of water that came through in such a short period of time. This wasn't a hurricane that weather services tracked for days. This wasn't a gradual river rise that gave people time to evacuate. This was a flash flood that struck with the speed and force of a freight train. The wider impact across Central Texas has been equally catastrophic. At least 7 people died in Travis County, 6 in Kendall County, 3 in Burnett County, 2 in Williamson County, and 1 in Tom Green County. Each county represents communities that have been forever changed, neighborhoods that will never look the same, and families who are still searching for answers. Governor Greg Abbott, speaking with the weight of a state on his shoulders, emphasized that the primary job right now continues to be locating everybody who was affected by this flood. We will not stop until every missing person is accounted for. These words carry the desperation of a leader who understands that behind every missing person report is a family clinging to hope, waiting for any news about their loved ones. The human stories emerging from this disaster are what truly capture its impact. Christian Phil tells CNN he woke up to thunder in the early morning hours of July 4th only to find himself stranded with nothing but a small meter box to cling to. Think about that for a moment. A man who went to sleep in his bed and woke up fighting for his life, holding onto a piece of metal as the world around him was swept away. As criticism mounted over the response to the flooding, Abbott addressed the controversy head-on, saying, "The way winners talk is not to point fingers. They talk about solutions." This statement reflects the reality that in the aftermath of such disasters, the focus must be on moving forward and preventing future tragedies. Rather than dwelling on what went wrong, the state is taking concrete action to address these concerns. Abbott said that State House and Senate committees will meet for a special session in about 2 weeks, during which they'll address strategies to handle natural disasters going forward. We're going to address every aspect of this storm to make sure that we're going to have in place the systems that are needed to prevent deadly flooding events in the future, Abbott promised. But what does this mean for the future? How do we prevent something like this from happening again? The reality is that climate change is making extreme weather events more frequent and more severe. Flash floods, once considered rare occurrences, are becoming increasingly common across the United States. The infrastructure and emergency response systems that worked in the past may not be adequate for the challenges we face today. The Camp Mystic tragedy serves as a stark reminder that no place is completely safe from the forces of nature. This camp had operated safely for decades, but a single weather event changed everything. It forces us to ask difficult questions about how we prepare for emergencies, how we protect our most vulnerable citizens, and how we build resilience in our communities. As search and rescue efforts continue, the focus remains on finding those who are still missing and supporting the families who have lost everything. The outpouring of support from across Texas and the nation has been overwhelming, with volunteers, emergency responders, and donations flowing into affected areas. It's a testament to the human spirit and our ability to come together in times of crisis. This disaster will be remembered not just for the lives lost, but for the courage shown by ordinary people who became heroes in extraordinary circumstances. The teenage counselors who helped save lives, the emergency responders who worked tirelessly, and the communities that opened their hearts and homes to strangers. These are the stories that remind us of the best of humanity even in our darkest moments. As Texas begins the long process of recovery and rebuilding, one thing is clear: this tragedy has changed the state forever. The lessons learned from this disaster must guide future preparations and policies. The lives lost must never be forgotten, and the survivors must be supported as they rebuild their lives and communities. The Texas flooding of July 2025 stands as a sobering reminder that in the face of nature's power, we are all vulnerable. But it also shows us that in our response to tragedy, we can find strength, resilience, and hope for the future.